I have a moment to play for you from Triggered. That's Don Jr.'s podcast. I don't know. And every time we check in on his podcast, his vibes are even stranger than the last time. And that is remaining the case today. So here he's talking about the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse in Baltimore, Maryland, obviously extremely devastating. And we've seen from people like Don Jr. a bunch of conspiracy theories being espoused since that took place. And so I want to play this for you. And it by itself is notable, but also it represents a broader issue that is so problematic within MAGA that I want to discuss. But first, here's Don Jr. And I know, okay, I know that he's just, he's deteriorating every time we see him, okay? That's it. That's all I'm saying on that.
Bridge was attacked. I read an article, I don't know if it's true, or I read a tweet like, you know, there's 2 minutes conveniently missing from the black box on the boat. And like, again, I don't want to be the guy rushing out and saying it was a terrorist attack or a cyber hacking, but like, man, you watch that video in like, you know, sped up and it's...
Sorry, I meant to comment on this. Did you hear him at the beginning say, I read an article or it was a tweet? Yeah.
It's like, there's the power outage and there's the first correction. And it's like, well, it's not quite perfect on the mountain. So there's another power outage and it ends up being perfect to hit the thing dead square. And I mean, that's critical infrastructure. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I mean, any diesel mechanics?
Super quickly pause your viewing of this video to ask you to click the like button and subscribe to the channel. So important in growing the show. Here's the rest.
Watching right now, but you know, I don't know much, but I know that, you know, these big diesel engines are, let's just call it like really fucking reliable. And it seems odd that one would go out, they could go out just conveniently and, you know, also conveniently within a couple hundred yards of a critical infrastructure bridge that's there for transporting hazardous waste in one of our biggest port areas in the country. Like, I don't know, folks. I'm not going to go and say it because then they'll say Don Jr.'s being a conspiracy theorist. But like all conspiracy theories, they turn out to be right.
Like which ones?
You know, in the future. So I will let other people come out. But I honestly don't. The bigger thing.
You'll let other people come out. That reminds me a lot of Tucker Carlson, where you just allude to things and you just ask questions. And some people are saying, and it's this really cowardly way to make points. And I'm not trying to say that in an insulting way. It's just true. That's what you do when you aren't either brave enough, confident enough, or clear enough internally on the point you want to make to just make it outright. So instead it has to be, I mean, why did it hit it like that? That's kind of weird. Very convenient that a power outage would happen, then a different one would happen. And it would hit it straight on at this hour of day. It's kind of interesting, but I don't want to, they'd call me a conspiracy theorist if I said what I'm thinking. Say it, or don't bring it up. Have a point you want to make, or don't make any point at all. But the Tucker Carlsons of the world, the Don Jr.'s of the world, do that sort of, I'm just asking questions. I don't know, folks, as he said. And it's really aggravating me. But it's just a tragedy what took place. And there's no evidence of foul play at this time. And just probability is such that enough boats, as I said on the bonus show yesterday, and enough bridges, and there's a chance something like this could happen. And it's horrific, and every single precaution needs to be taken to prevent future instances like it. But to jump to it had to be a conspiracy, it had to be foul play, when there's not evidence of that, is just needless. And so asking all these questions about how unlikely it is that something like this could happen ignores the fact that things like this can happen without some grand conspiracy to do it or foul play involved. And so especially in situations like this one where lives have been lost and people are hurting, to just willy-nilly without evidence start speculating about other things is not the correct thing to do in my mind. But it's not just about this. It's also indicative, what Don Jr. is doing there, of this broader, real deep issue within MAGA, which is everything is a conspiracy theory. I referenced, and many of you enjoyed hearing me explain it this way: MAGA goggles, right? Or MAGA glasses. You put on your MAGA glasses and everything looks like a conspiracy. In the case of the first time I brought it up, everyone looks like undocumented immigrants. That story was that a Republican took a photo of people loading into a bus and said, oh my gosh, he called them illegal invaders, just vile stuff, but they're being police escorted to wherever they want to go, whatever. And it turned out to be a basketball team of American citizens. And he had just completely made that up. And that was him looking through his MAGA glasses. He saw people getting into a bus, and probably because of some horrible biases he has, he said, those are undocumented immigrants and they're being police escorted somewhere. And so same thing here. You put on your MAGA glasses, everything is a conspiracy theory. You can't process or believe that a horrible accident could have happened, and instead it has to be some conspiracy. And then the reason why it's so destructive is you practice and you train your brain to think like that, and it's really hard to stop. And that's why it's so easy to convince a lot of the supporters of Donald Trump of things like the election lies. It's why I am able to talk to Trump supporters and hear them say that, and let me try to get this straight, Trump's in control through the military, but Obama is still the president, and Biden's an actor. But the real Biden's been dead a long time, but inflation's Biden's fault. But Trump's really controlling everything to show us what it's like when you steal an election. But did they really steal it? Because the military stayed in control through Trump, our king. Okay, I added that last part in the end. But all those things have been told to me. And the reason why this can even all go together in their brain, it can all make sense even when some of these supposed facts contradict one another, is because of years and years of sort of conditioning themselves to think in these conspiratorial ways. And so as you do that more and more, then you have stronger and stronger lenses over your eyes as you observe the world. And so it is important to oppose and call out these sorts of theories wherever you're seeing them. Sometimes they're harmless, but still push back against evidence-free theories, or sometimes they're harmful, like this one and many others, because it does lead to very bad places. And if you demand that we all operate on some shared understanding of facts based on empiricism and demanding evidence before asserting something about reality, then we can all have rational conversations and we can debate out our sort of preferred ways to go about things, preferred policies, obviously, preferred responses to different things, but at least we're all accepting the same observation of reality. But that's what's now falling apart. And it also creates an environment where people prioritize the source, the person, the entity that's providing them the information they're getting, rather than the quality of the information itself, right? As long as they've decided to trust that individual or outlet, then that becomes the only thing that matters. And what that person is saying is something to be believed in because it's the person who's saying it, rather than making sure the information they're providing to you actually aligns with reality. And it also, what we're seeing now, it also teaches people to choose a good story, a compelling story, a fascinating, riveting, maybe fear-inducing story over one that necessarily aligns with reality based on evidence. And so a lot of people make a lot of money just every single day going in front of an audience and telling a compelling story about the events of the day that often involve a bunch of conspiratorial thinking, lots of conspiracy theories that make everything seem like it interconnects, and it's all very wild and fascinating, and sometimes gives simpler answers to complex questions. Like, instead of trying to comprehend the vast and complex world that we live in, and bad things happening and unexplainable things happening, if you just have this powerful globalist cabal or something that's controlling it all, and they're choreographing everything that's taking place in the world, that's a simpler answer to this very complex world that we live in. And so those sorts of people telling those compelling stories end up being trusted by a lot of people, unfortunately, instead of just finding accurate information. Here's another right-wing Republican response to this bridge collapse that was just wild.
Is Congress going to need to pony up more money, or is there enough money in the infrastructure package?
Yeah, great to be with you, Maria. Yeah, it was kind of outrageous immediately for Biden to express in this tragedy the idea that he's going to use federal funds to pay for it in entirety. I mean, he doesn't refer to it as the American taxpayer dollars on anything. The first reaction.
What? I showed that on the bonus show too, but I wanted to do it for the whole audience. He's saying his outrage is about Biden saying the federal government will jump in and help to repair that bridge. Yikes. And one random thing, Ron Philip Kalski posted this on X from Newsmax. Just to end this on a funny note, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. just would not, I don't know if his earpiece wasn't working or something, would not stop talking as this Newsmax host tried to get him to.
$100 per donor, but our campaign itself is beating them pretty consistently. Of course,
I don't mean to interrupt you, sir. I don't want to interrupt you, but
over raise a lot more money than we can. But our super PACs are raising money as well. So
allow me, sir.
We feel that we're going to be able to compete.
Right. I just want to let the folks know that was Jill and Joe Biden.
Election I'm running against two candidates who are the least popular candidates to.
What was that? He just would not stop talking. Make sure you're subscribed to this YouTube channel.